everyone, and welcome to Inside Winston Cup Racing. Ned Jarrett is standing by. He'll be joining us shortly. The Winston Cup Series is off this weekend, warming up for the Brickyard 400. But the Busch Series ran Saturday at South Boston, Virginia, where tires, not just talent, determine the outcome, as Chad Little charged to the win and into the points lead. Highlights are coming up. Also ahead, Randy talks with some of the most important people in this sport, you, the fans, about the growing love affair with Winston Cup Racing. Then you'll meet NASCAR's Cleanup Committee, Safety Clean, another step in racing toward a cleaner environment. All coming up on this edition of Inside Winston Cup Racing for Sunday, July 30th. Today's show is brought to you by Texaco Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car. Red Dog Beer, bold yet smooth, unusually easy to drink. You are your own dog. And by Goodyear, #1 in racing, #1 in tires. Today's Busch Series highlights are brought to you by Texaco Haviland Formula 3. Add more life to your car. Now let's get something straight. Chad Little had another solid run on Saturday. A strong car, a great crew, and some impressive driving. His Harris Teeter team was able to transform early trouble into triumph. But the underlying story here is the tire rule. It is designed to keep costs down. Saturday, the rule limited teams to 4 new tires under caution. It may have saved some cash. But yesterday, the tire rule took the air right out of the competition. The 32-car field took the green flag for 300 laps on the 4/10 of a mile track. Pole sitter Curtis Markham was strong from the start, with Chad Little, Johnny Benson, and Jimmy Spencer giving chase. Little worked his Harris Teeter Ford around Markham and into the lead just past lap 50. But a few laps later, Chad was trying to lap Doug Hevron when the two got together. Benson dodged low and raced into the lead, while Little and Hevron both spun, bringing out the second caution of the race. Chad pulled his wounded ride to the pits for repairs, and the crew bolted on 2 right-side tires that did not count against the 4 tires allowed under caution. Point leader Johnny Benson, Markham, and David Green paced the parade as the race roared past lap 100. When Tim Fita was spun on lap 110, the caution flew for the 3rd time, and the leaders jammed the overcrowded pit road. Benson was just one driver that lost precious positions when he was pinned in. Little did not stop and led on the restart. He swapped the lead with Markham until the motor expired in the Lysol machine. Little held the lead past halfway. Then, with his tires fading, he relinquished the point to Green, and Mike McLaughlin followed into second. With less than 100 laps left, Benson's Chevy began to smoke. He was black flagged and forced to pit. That's when Buckshot Jones turns Jason Keller in traffic, collecting Jimmy Spencer for caution number 4 on lap 207. That opened the door for Little to pit and grab 4 fresh tires. Green led on the restart with just over 80 laps left, chased by McLaughlin and Elton Sawyer. But Little was the story. He restarted back in the pack, but with fresh tires, carved a swift path to the front, quickly roping in the leaders. He recaptured the lead and pulled away from the pack, leaving Green, McLaughlin, and Sawyer to fight for second. Larry Pearson lost a lap in the pits, but fought back on the track and took the Stanley Tools Chevy into the top 5. Bobby Dotter went around in traffic for caution number 5. That's when Benson returned to the pits, where his Lipton T crew failed to solve his problems, dropping Johnny deep in the order and out of the points lead. Down the stretch, no one could catch Chad, but there was plenty of exciting racing action among the cars on the lead lap. Sawyer appeared headed for a top 5 finish when he was tapped from behind by Elliott Sadler, dropping the red carpet least forward to a 7th place finish. Sadler spun moments later and finished 8th. Up front, Chad rolled to the checkers for his 2nd straight win, his 6th of the season, and the lead in the Busch Series points race.
We had that caution, and I had 4 new tires, and they had 75 or so laps on theirs, maybe even more than that. And I mean, tires won it for me today, so thank you to Goodyear. And you know, that's the gamble when you get out of sequence. Sometimes you can really have an advantage, and sometimes it can hurt you. The caution really worked in our favor, and also the caution when we had that flat tire at the start of the race. So, you know, I want to thank our team, of course, and Harris Teeter and Bayer, because we've worked really hard for this. This car's probably been wrecked more than any of our other cars, but this is its first win, and it goes down in history books.
Lipton Team Monte Carlo's been running great. I mean, we had a great car. You know, Chad got that little extra set of tires, which made him fast, but man, he ran a great race too. I mean, he's been fast. Their crew's doing an excellent job, and you know, I mean, they deserve to be in the lead, man. They're one of a lot of races, and they're running good too, so we'll fight back. We'll be all right.
The Busch guys go again Friday night at Indianapolis Raceway Park, the night before the Brickyard 400. Now look for a possible rule change when the Winston Cup teams hit the track at Indy on Wednesday. A new minimum spoiler angle, perhaps 60 or 65 degrees, opposed to last year when there was no minimum, but most teams probably ran 50 to 55 degrees. Earlier this week, the Speedway unveiled a whopping purse, so as you might imagine, drivers are anxious to get back on the track.
We haven't heard a whole lot about the second annual Brickyard 400. Last year, every week, you know, it's all people wanted to talk about. This year, it hasn't been that way, and it's been kind of quiet. And so when I went up there testing, I hadn't really even thought that much about it, but running there, you know. But when you pull out on that racetrack, your whole mindset changes still. You become real aware of where you are and what all's gone on there over the years, and it's a good feeling inside. It makes you real excited about racing there.
You know, we've been to a lot of these racetracks, you know, time and time again, and to go to someplace just like everywhere else, you know, we got some new racetracks coming up in the future, you know, from years from now, that it'll be history making also. But the fame and the history of Indy will never die, you know, so winning that first one was great, but hey, if you can win the second, the third, the fourth, whichever one it is, it still would please me.
There's no way to describe it. It's just, that would be it. I mean, that would be the ultimate in victories. I mean, you know, the Daytona 500 is our Super Bowl, and that's been around for a while, and that's very prestigious too. But I mean, you're talking about the Brickyard. I mean, some of the history behind the place and the people that have won races there, to be able to get your name in the Hall of Fame with them, it just would be tremendous.
What's going to make the Brickyard special, I think, in years to come, I think we're going to see this, is the fans. You know what I mean? I mean, they sold the place out. You know, we ran the first race, and a few days after that, they sold it out for this coming year. It's going to keep getting bigger. You know, he's putting more stands on the infield this time to accommodate more people. And the people, that's what makes it. You know what I mean? That's what's going to make it real traditional as years come forth, I believe.
One other thing, what's your personal commitment thing like up there? Have you looked at your schedule? Do you have a lot of things you have to do, or are you chilling?
I tell you what I do. When I get there, they hand me a piece of paper and they tell me which way to go. You go this way here at a certain time, and go over here at a certain time, and over here at a certain time. So I know they got a lot of stuff going on up there, but I really don't know till I get there. You know?
Rick Mast coming your way, though.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Medical update, Ken Schrader is doing fine after his wreck at Talladega last week. He's got a nasty black eye, but raced Wednesday night. And Robbie Reiser's also doing well. He was released from the hospital late last week and is home recovering from surgery on his knees. We're looking forward to our visit to the Brickyard and IRP for the Busch race. Videographer Harry Cogan and I are heading for Indy. Hope to see you up there. We're going to turn things over to Ned Jarrett. He'll take you along for the rest of the way in this one. First, here's a look at the finish order from the Ford Credit 300. And congratulations once again to Chad Little.
Recent stories in Forbes magazine and Sports Illustrated have pointed out the tremendous growth of NASCAR Winston Cup racing, and boy, it has been growing by leaps and bounds in the last several years. While we were at Talladega, Randy talked to some of you fans about what drives you to the races.
Give me your overall opinion about the state of the sport right now, where it stands. I mean, I don't know if you saw this week on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Give me your opinions on where this sport stands right now.
It's on top. It's on top. I don't know how it can go any higher. Just look around you. It takes you an hour to get to the track. It used to take you 30 minutes. It takes you 5 hours to get out of here if you sit and wait 3. Oh, I love it. There's nothing can top it. Nothing. Nothing.
They say women make up 38% of this sport, and as far as the crowd goes. Why do you feel this thing has become so popular? What does it for you guys?
Mark Martin.
That's it. He does it for you. Huh?
Speed does it for me.
Speed does it for you.
Speed is wonderful. Watching these guys out here is tremendous.
Yeah. You like the competition as well, or do you just like the overall atmosphere of it? Come on.
All of it.
Yeah?
Everything.
Yeah.
It's great.
And you don't know what's going to happen until it's almost over, do you?
Except Mark Martin's going to win.
It's basically a family sport, family-oriented. Everybody goes out there, gives 100%, and these guys will go out there and they'll go out there with broken legs, excuse me, broken legs, broken arms, get in a race. They do it because they have a true desire to do it, will to be there. They don't go out there and cry about it. They go out there and do it.
Well, my husband got me started, and I figured, you know, you can't beat them, join them. It's something the husband and wife can do together, and it's a lot of fun.
Have you become a big fan?
Yes, I became a big fan attending Daytona when I lived in West Palm Beach, and now I've attended more races, and I am a fan.
Can you put your finger on why there's that seemingly addiction when, you know, once you see that first race or you hear them crank up? Explain it to the fans.
Speed, the sound of the cars, the fans are all into the same thing at the same time.
They're so close together. It's so exciting.
See, they have a race in Phoenix, and it's an exciting race, but there's not near as much electricity from the fans as back here. That's one of the reasons the East Coast is fun to come visit a race, because the fans are so pumped up. They come to see their man win, so it's really exciting.
Feel the same way?
Yeah, I've noticed, like he was telling me, back on the West Coast, you just don't have the NASCAR adrenaline. I mean, we've been driving out here, and we were at the Talladega short track last night, and I mean, those fans, they just stand up and get into it. And out here, I'm kind of expecting the same thing. You just feel it walking around. California, you just, I don't know. I don't want to dog any of our California fellow race fans out there, but it's a lot more different atmosphere out here, a lot better.
So you'll buy the seats, but you might not sit in them too long.
Basically, you spend a little bit of money to get in there and stand for 3 hours, but not too much complaining when it's over. It's worth it.
How long did it take you to get here?
I think it's 2,500 miles. That's about 36 hours of pretty good driving.
We were so pumped up, we drove straight through.
It's a grassroots sport. People love their cars. They love America. They love these people out here. It's great. You know, it's just a good sport.
I think it'll continue to grow as it has in the past few years.
As long as they can find parking.
Yeah. How do you? Why would you battle the parking? You love it that much? You have to battle the traffic hours ahead of time.
The traffic, the heat, it's all worth it. Yes. We came from Panama City, Florida, and it's worth it.
Yeah, it's great because the speed, the noise, the smell, the heat, it's wonderful.
Exhilarating, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's exciting. Yeah. The most exciting event that I've ever been to is NASCAR racing.
Convert.
Yes.
Really?
I'm a recent convert, yes.
It's down-to-earth people. It's what the average American working man wants to see. This is where he wants to spend his money and his time. And when he leaves here, he feels like he's got his money's worth. And I think it's one of the greatest sports. I'm a die-hard race fan. I like old DW. He lives 186 miles from me in Louisville. He used to. I watched him race since he just started racing go-karts. I'm going to stick with him through the bad and the thin. But I got my money on Ken Schrader, but I've lost in the last 125 races. But I think the man's going to make one. But I love the sport. It just, when they say start your engines down there, man, I'm almost 62 years old. I go back to I'm 16 years old. It does that to me. I love it. I just love it.
Well, our thanks to those of you who participated, and we wish it were possible to talk to each and every one of you because we know that you have a lot to say. Still to come on this edition of Inside Winston Cup Racing, we'll have the mailbox and also a story on Safety Clean, which plays a very important role in NASCAR Winston Cup Racing. The IWCR mailbox is brought to you by Miller Genuine Draft. Our question is from Russell Scales from Tapton, Pennsylvania. What is meant by the one tire per position rule in the Busch Series?
Hi, Russell. I'm Johnny Benson, driver of Lipton Team Monte Carlo. To answer the question, there's 4 positions on the race car. There's the right front, the right rear, the left rear, and the left front. When NASCAR tells us that we get 2 per position, means that during the cautions, we can come in and change tires twice on each one of them positions. And that's all the tires that we get for the cautions. We can still change as many tires as we want under green. Thanks for writing in.
If you have a question, write to us at Inside Winston Cup Racing, Box 240-417, Charlotte, North Carolina, 28224. If we use your question, you'll receive a Miller Genuine Draft Race Team jacket.
We look forward to the Brickyard 400 next week at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and look forward to seeing many of our fans in that area. Now remember, practice starts on Wednesday this year. They started on Thursday last year, but qualifying will still be on Thursday and Friday as it was last year. We need to take a short break, and as we leave you for this break, here's a look at what's coming up next week right here on IWCR.
The Winston Cup Series is ready to return to Indianapolis in the second running of the Brickyard 400. We'll have the post-race report and talk with the winner next Sunday morning.
For Winston Cup teams, the race really begins at dawn on Sunday with the critical pre-race preparation. An up-close look at the delicate details that are rewarded with a win.
After his season of success, it has been a summer of disappointment for David Green. A chat with the reigning Busch Series champion next week.
Inside Winston Cup Racing, happy 10th anniversary.
It takes a lot of people and a lot of companies and support to make NASCAR Winston Cup Racing work. And one of the latest companies that helps to make it work is the Safety Clean Corporation. They not only help the teams in recycling their oil and other liquids that they use in the sport, but it also helps the environment.
Safety Clean has been a familiar sight and service around the country since the company was founded in 1968. But in the last 3 years, the service and symbol have become synonymous with NASCAR's dedication to an environmentally rewarding role in racing. First in the shops and now at the tracks, Safety Clean handles the disposal and recycling of cleaning solvents, used oil, grease, and antifreeze. Safety Clean does the dirty work and is proud of it.
First of all, Safety Clean is the largest re-refiner of oil in the world. We're also the largest recycler of solvents in the U.S. The race teams involved in Winston Cup racing and throughout the U.S. are our customers back home in the race shops. To be able to provide the same services that they have at home at a racetrack was something that I envisioned years ago, approached NASCAR with in late '92, and we were able to kick off an official environmental program in 1993.
Now 2.5 years later, the world of Safety Clean whirls around the racetrack on more than 50 Winston Cup and Busch Series cars. But the work done by Safety Clean at the racetrack is really just the beginning.
Basically, we take used oil from the race teams, goes from a racetrack to a Safety Clean facility, again with our own oil trucks, our own fleet of vehicles. From there, it's picked up and goes by rail to East Chicago, Indiana, our re-refinery, and from there, that oil is in essence made into a new recycled oil. A lot of it goes to industry in bulk, cutting oils or whatever, but we do package engine oil for Walmart, Kmart, James Way, City of New York, City of Chicago. All use this oil that was once in this race car.
Well, you know, not only do you dump the oil separate, you dump the antifreeze separate, you dump your brake fluid separate, and then they also have products. You know, they furnish our shop with products to wipe up the shop with. If you spill some oil, instead of using a rag to wipe it up with, they have special oil absorbent wipes to wipe the shop up with. And their service really, really does a lot for the shop and for the racetrack. You know, you come in here and, you know, years ago people didn't think much about it, but now everybody thinks about it every day. And the service that they provide for us is really a super service. I really don't know how we got along without them.
But the racetrack isn't the only place you'll find the familiar logo.
When you see that symbol at any business, from a dealership to a quick lube, dry cleaners, you know those businesses are recycling. They're doing business with us, attempting to protect the environment, not the landfill, to make a renewed, reclaimed product, reusable product.
Safety Clean is one of the newest members of the NASCAR team, helping to keep the environment safe for everyone.
They've carried it all the way through so that they can help educate the teams on how to handle all their liquids and everything. So even it's a 7-day-a-week effort on their behalf to make it work at the shops, on the trucks, and in the cars, even at the different garage areas.
We're thrilled to be here. I mean, it's been great for us, 2.5 seasons. We hope to be here for the long haul.
A great service for the sport. We hope you're around for a long time, too. And we hope that you fans are doing your part on recycling as well. We're off to the Brickyard 400. You join us again here on TNN for more on Inside Winston Cup Racing.
Today's show has been brought to you by Texaco Clean System 3 Gasolines. Add more life to your car. Cold filtered Miller Genuine Draft, making the world a very cool place. And by Goodyear, #1 in racing, #1 in tires. Team Simpson is your ticket to be part of all the exciting racing action. Now's the time to order the 1995 catalog. Call 1-800-71-RACIN and join Team Simpson today. The official conversion van of Inside Winston Cup Racing is Gladiator by Glavel, America's #1 luxury van. Glavel, the way we put it together, sets us apart. Communications for Inside Winston Cup Racing are provided by Racing Radios, Forest Park, Georgia. Racing Radios, the official communications of NASCAR and the Winston Cup Series.